Hi gang, well it's been a while, but it's yet again time for a review of some of the most important Warhammer products released this year. It's time for more Warhammer beer. So if you didn't know, Games Workshop's HQ in Nottingham is host to a large gaming centre known as Warhammer World, and nestled in the corner of Warhammer World, past the shops and the museum and the gaming hall, is BUGMAN'S bar, named after the famed dwarven brewer Joseph Bugman, a character in multiple editions of Warhammer Fantasy and now Age of Sigmar. The bar is usually pretty busy with a mix of gamers and staff members. It's kind of the staff bar, themed to look a bit like it's in the world of Warhammer. It sells pub grub with comedy Warhammer names and also has a number of ales on tap that are themed around the Warhammer world, which are only available here on draft or in bottle form. A while back, Gary and I took on the arduous and thankless task of reviewing all of the different Warhammer beers in one evening. There were 4 to pick from back then, and we've also taken a sip of a few limited editions. But when I last went back, the entire range had changed. So what can we do but buy all 5 of the new batch of beers and take on the difficult and challenging task of drinking them on this channel, ideally while playing war games, so you can pretend you're sitting in Warhammer World too. Or at least that was the intent. It turns out only one of us could actually drink them all. More about that in a bit. The new 2024 range contains 5 new beers, and they're all themed around various things from Age of Sigmar. We have Twin-Tailed Ale, Lord Brokk, Hammerhal Best, Tahlia Gold, and the classic BUGMAN'S 6X, all brewed by the Lincoln Green Brewery. These replace the previous 4, Blitzer's Best, Durgren's Hellfire, Troll Brew, and, also BUGMAN'S 6X, which were then made by the Nottingham Brewery. Of course, it's likely that all of these were just beers that these breweries already made anyway, just with different labels stuck on. That's pretty common. I'm not sure what the reason for this change actually was. Both breweries are pretty local to Nottingham and they're only serving one venue, so I would assume it's a cost-based thing, but I don't know. Anyway, the important thing is that this gives us 5 new beers to try out, including BUGMAN'S, which is of course a totally different beer now. I guess you've always got to have a BUGMAN'S 6X in BUGMAN'S bar. All of these are bottle-conditioned English-style real ales, served cold but not ice-cold, ideally in big old flagons or tankards, but we're filming this in my workplace, so we've just got these 2 random pint glasses branded with the wrong beers on them. We'll make do, it'll be fine. There are actual Warhammer World tankards you can buy, and there are a few reasons why I wouldn't have bought them, but the obvious one is that you guys wouldn't be able to see the beer, so I guess we're sticking with glasses. All BUGMAN'S beers are obviously intended to pair well with silly toy soldier games, so we'll be attempting to learn how to play Kill Team in this one, because we're doing that for our current Tale of 4 gamers. So let's start our very sensible and sober merch review with the first beer. First up, it's Twin-Tailed Ale, obviously starting with the most Sigmar-y one here. It's described as a smooth, dark drink with a bit of butterscotch sweetness, which I think both of us were a little apprehensive over. I can't even really remember what butterscotch tastes like, and it feels like it might be a bit weird. But anyway, after we'd set up for our game, we opened these up and poured them out. So the next one on our list is this Twin-Tailed Ale, butterscotch ale. Let's go for it.
Oh, it's a nice dark color, this one.
Oh, that's actually a lot darker than I was expecting. Yeah. Maybe this is going to be the way for the rest of this. So,
it's got a nice sort of vanilla chocolatey smell.
Really dark ale. Okay, let's try it. That's interesting. That's much more like a porter than I was expecting.
Oh, it's got a creaminess. Yeah. Yeah, I do like that.
Well, let's play some more Kill Team and see how it goes. Yeah, we probably should have read the description first, but this is evidently some sort of sweet dark porter, which is actually really nice. We drank this while we slowly made our way through the first turn of Kill Team, my Firehawks versus Gary's Astral Claws, fighting out the very beginnings of our Badab War campaign. Anyway, given we'd never played it before, this first turn took ages, enough time for us to finish this beer and give the verdict. That was our first one for the evening. Twin-Tailed Ale, a butterscotch beer that we both drank at the start and thought, oh, that's a bit weird, not what we expected. How was it?
Yeah, it was really good. I was surprised by the color at the start. I was expecting like a lighter colored
Yeah.
You know, flavor. I was expecting again like a different thing, like the butterscotch. It doesn't really come across as butterscotch. It comes across more as a vanilla, chocolatey.
You were when we were looking at these beers before, that was the one where you were like, "Ugh, really? Do I have to drink that one?"
Yeah, it sounded like it was going to be. You know, when you get like, I've had Christmas advent calendars where every day you get a different beer, and you get things like butterscotch, and you're like, "Ugh," and it goes to the back of the fridge. That was my reaction. I was pleasantly surprised. I did like this one. It says that it's a dark drink that is the perfect accompaniment to tales around a campfire. I agree. It's got a sort of homeliness to it.
Yeah. It reminded me of those sort of, like banana bread porter and that sort of thing, where it's like a sweet dark one. How many Stormcast lightning bolts do you give our first beer, Twin Tailed Ale?
I think this gets a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very good one. You know, I would choose this.
Let's move on to the next one.
Brilliant.
Okay, so we're off to an unexpected good start. Let's move on to the second beer, and it's the other dark one, Lord Brokk Porter, the beer choice of flying dwarfs and apparently a well-rounded smooth porter that will soon have us bellowing sky shanties. Let's pour it out and see.
We're on beer 2. This is Lord Brokk, which is a sky dwarf beer, apparently. It's a porter, which is good because we just had one that was surprisingly dark anyway. So that was a fake porter. This is a real porter. Here we go. The previous porter was Blitzer's Best. Oh, I've screwed that up. The previous porter was Blitzer's Best. And that was like our favorite one. And then there was this weird Blitzer's Best Cherry Coke version, which you loved and I hated.
Yeah, I really liked the cherry one.
Oh, I really hated it. It was terrible. So here's the porter. I've slightly screwed up the head on that. But yeah, what can you say? It's beer coloured in that it's basically black. It looks quite fizzy. But here we go. Let's have a taste.
It's got a nice smokiness to it.
Yeah, but it hasn't got the sweetness that Blitzer's Best had, which we are judging it against because Blitzer's Best is the best one. Let's continue playing our game of Kill Team and then see what Lord Brokk does for us.
Okay, so as we said here, Blitzer's Best was our favourite of the old range. So there's stiff competition for Lord Brokk and his Sky Porter. Again, we managed to play another turn while we were drinking this. I'm sure we'll get faster eventually, but here's a review.
So Gary, Lord Brokk has been consumed, or at least you're very much still consuming it.
Yeah, I think this is my favourite tonight.
Really?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of porters and dark.
So interestingly, we just had the butterscotch version of this, and I was like, now this is a bit boring.
No, I like it. It's got that smoky sort of burnt taste to it.
Mm-hmm.
I could drink a few of these. It's only 4.7, which is, it's a little bit
It's
higher.
Acceptable?
Yeah. But it's not like a 6% porter or more,
Well, that's because, obviously if it was too strong, they would have difficulty driving their dirigibles.
Sky Trigger.
Yeah, whatever
Sky
they've got.
boats. No, I really do like it. It does say that it's a smooth glide. I'd agree. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy to drink. We've been enjoying it while we're playing the game.
How many Sigma Rights Thunderbolts would you give this?
It's got to be 4. I mean, it's 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
It's hard to give something 5 out of 5.
Great. Brilliant. Let's move on to beer 3.
So the 2 dark beers did well there, but this is where we hit a bit of a problem. Whenever we've done these reviews in the past, I've got 2 bottles of everything so that Gary and I can have one each and compare. But unfortunately, with the recent switch to Lincoln Green Brewery, we can't do that because Lincoln Green Brewery make beers that aren't vegan. Of the 5 beers here, only 2, the 2 ones we just had, are listed as suitable for vegetarians and vegans, but the other 3 aren't. The usual reason for this is that some real ales are made with isinglass, which is used as a fining agent, something you put in the beer to clear out fermented yeast and make it all fall to the bottom. And that makes the resulting beer look clear rather than cloudy. Isinglass is made from the swim bladders of fish, so if you use it, the resulting beer isn't even vegetarian, let alone vegan. And there are other things that a brewery can use, mineral agents and the like, and many breweries are either happy with hazy beer or just use those, but obviously Lincoln Green aren't one of them. You tend to find that breweries either use one or the other as a fining agent, so I would guess that the reason these 2 beers are suitable for me is that dark beers like porters probably don't need clearing as much, right? Given that all of the previous range and the recent Neon Raptor bolt gun are vegan, this seems like a massive step backwards. About 9% of the UK are veggie or vegan, and if you include people who don't eat fish, that's probably a bit more. So making a choice to make your flagship souvenir beers inaccessible to 1/10 of everyone walking through the door seems like a really silly move. Anyway, I did like those two, and there's nothing I can do about it, so Gary is just going to have to drink the next 3 beers on his own and give us his opinion. First up in the fish beer range is Tahlia Gold, a gluten-free golden ale, which is also described as a punchy pale ale around the back. It's also apparently the favoured beer of this lady, Tahlia Vedra, the Lioness of the Parch. Parch, get it? No, anyway, let's see if it stops Gary feeling parched.
Okay, so this is Tahlia Gold, which I am now going to pour for you. I, of course, can't actually drink it because of the aforementioned issue with the new brewery in that not bloody vegan, are they? So here we go. So, yeah, as you can see, that is sort of golden and lagery in colour. There you go.
Yeah.
I can't even cheers you.
Cheers in the bottle.
There you go.
Thanks. Yeah, it's good. It's got that aftertaste to it, a little bit, not as much of the aftertaste like a Nuki Brown Ale, but it's got a little kick afterwards of sort of hoppiness.
Okay. Well, we can now play a game while you drink that and I don't. And I'm imagining that I'm going to start winning a lot more games this way.
Okay, so yes, apparently this kick comes from the Ashkian hops that are in it. Ashki is the fire realm in Age of Sigmar. Also, I'm no expert in gluten-free beer, but neither of us realised this was gluten-free when we were filming it, and Gary didn't notice anything different after drinking a pint, so I guess it must be quite a good one. I only realised when I was editing this video. Anyway, we battled our way through the rest of the game, and then let Gary give his verdict.
This is Ashki Gold. I have no idea, so what did you think?
It was all right. It wasn't my favourite out of the what we've had so far. It's got that strong aftertaste that I said. It's like really sort of hoppy.
Yeah.
It says ashen hops, and I think that's what they're going for, that punchy sort of thing at the back, but it's not for me.
So, in terms of Stormcast Eternal Lightning Bolt points, how much does this get?
Yeah, it's a 2 out of 5, I think.
Good.
You know, it is drinkable, so I wouldn't go as far as to give it 0 or 1.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, then they can put the fish oil in it as much as they like.
Sure. Yeah.
Right, fourth up is Hammerhal Best. I must say, it certainly seems like the new range of beers is a bit more human-themed than dwarf-themed, which is a bit weird for BUGMAN'S brewery. Anyway, this is a 4.7% bitter, perfect for thirsty free-guilders returning from war, but without any particular description of what it actually tastes like. So let's find out.
Okay, the next one up is Hammerhal Best. Gary, again, this is a no Ian beer, so go for it. So this is described as, it's a 4.7, just bitter. I mean, yeah, that's what that looks like, right? That looks like beer. You know the joke last time that everything was beer coloured? That.
Yeah.
Okay, first impressions on a little drink of that?
Yeah, it's mild. It's nice. Bitter, it says, but no, it's quite mild.
Okay, all right. Well, let's see.
Okay, apparently mild to start, but we'll see where that goes. While Gary drank it, the Firehawks continued their invasion of the Maelstrom Zone, where we found that apparently flamers are a really good thing to carry around with you when invading an enemy spaceship. Who knew? Anyway, with Gary losing scouts left and right, absolutely nothing to do with his extra beers, I'm sure, we returned for the verdict.
Okay, Gary, so this is Hammerhal Best. It has the word best on it, and it's described as a bitter. So I'm imagining this is like standard old man beer.
Yeah, it's like a bit of a cask ale.
Yeah.
When I first tasted it, it tasted quite mild. But the taste is building up to be a little bit bitter now as I'm drinking it.
All those sound like, you remember when we did the last one, the first thing we did was Troll Brew, and Troll Brew was like, yep, that's just beer.
I'm enjoying this. This is probably better than what I remember. The Troll I remember being very bland.
Well, the problem is Troll Brew was so bland that then every time we ever went to BUGMAN'S after that, we get the better ones, like Blitzer's Best, and, which was the porter. Or
this, I think, is better than what I remember the Troll Brew. It's a tasty beer, yeah. Nothing amazing about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's what it says on the tin. You know,
yeah, if you want like a standard, normal, boring, like beer, this is a beer. It's not butterscotch flavoured or...
No, it's not crazy. It's a good one. I like it.
How many Sigmarite lightning bolts is this getting?
It's getting 3.
Okay.
It's because it's not punching above its weight or anything.
Yeah.
It's a good beer.
It's like a safe option, right?
Yeah.
There's always a safe option in these.
Yes.
I'm glad that we're still capable of playing. We're going to move on to beer 5.
Brilliant.
So finally, we reached the 5th beer, the much-loved BUGMAN'S 6X. Now, last time, this was a very light, drinkable golden ale, which we placed in the middle of the pack. We actually really liked it. It was just we liked other ones better. But of course, this time it's a totally different beer. Now it is a 4.5% pale ale, a full-bodied malty delight that allows you to laugh in the face of fear. I mean, depending, presumably, how much you've had.
Okay, so this is BUGMAN'S 6X. It's much paler than everything else, right?
It's in a Peroni glass, and it looks like a Peroni.
I know,
here.
right?
Like,
yeah, I haven't poured all of it out, but have a go, Gary. Again, it's full of fishes, so I can't have it. What do you think?
it does not taste like a Peroni. It does
No, of course.
It's got a little bit of an aftertaste. Yeah.
Yeah, so last time this was we were always quite surprised because this is BUGMAN'S 6X, and it is, of course, only 4.5. The strongest one was actually the butterscotch beer.
Wow, that's shocking, really, because that was really easy to drink.
Yeah. Also, it was the start of the evening. But yes, obviously, this obviously isn't the same BUGMAN'S 6X as it was before. I think the BUGMAN'S 6X before was a little bit weaker.
I think 6XXX makes it sound like it's 7% or 6% or something. That'll knock your socks off.
It's pretty normal. But look, it's the last beer of the evening. So let's finish off a game of Kill Team, and you can tell me all about it at the end.
So there we go, the final beer of the evening. And we finished off our kill teaming for the evening with, I think, a pretty good knowledge of how the game functions. The Firehawks managed to beat the Scouts and steal their spaceship, though I think I might use a simpler loadout next time, as all the extra rules and bits of equipment were making the game a bit hard to follow. Again, nothing to do with the beer.
We are on the final beer. Again, it's a fish-filled one, so I can't drink it. So I'm relying entirely on your opinion. I feel like this time we've gone in reverse order of the sort of beers you like. I think last time we did them accidentally did them in order of the beers you like, so they got better all the way through. This time I feel like the first two probably were the ones you like more. This is the last beer. It's BUGMAN'S 6X, the absolute classic that might be completely different from the last. So what do you reckon?
This is a solidly average. It started with the pour when I sort of said, "Oh, that looks like a Peroni," and that might have colored my opinion of it. But as I drink it, it just tastes like an average
ale.
Yeah. It's an average ale. Nothing really special about it. I expect it more because of the XXX being extra special.
Well, here's an interesting question. When we did this last time, the BUGMAN'S was like the clear, interesting, normal, nice one, and the Troll Brew was the sort of boring one. Now, in this, BUGMAN'S still exists. The equivalent of Troll Brew is that Hammerhal Best. Which do you prefer more?
I don't know, actually. It's close. I think this one slightly pips it.
And from your rating so far, it sounds like the Golden Ale is lower and both of the dark beers are higher.
Yeah, this is just another Golden Ale.
Without the kick.
Yeah, with no kick. It's mild, it's pleasant, it's a good session beer. Not a lot to say for it or against it. It's middle road.
How many Sigmarite Super Thunderbolts?
Middle of the road, I guess 3 out of 5.
There we go. Thanks, Gary. I will now put those up in a thing to the side of your head to judge how you have judged all 5 of these Lincoln Brewery beers.
So there we go. 5 more beers reviewed. And the scores here are interesting. The Twin-Tailed Ale and Lord Brokk were the highest scoring. And personally, I think the Twin-Tailed Ale's the standout here. I didn't think Lord Brokk was quite as good as the old Blitzer's Best, but Gary liked it. But even though I wasn't the one drinking them, the other 3 do seem pretty average by comparison. Serviceable real ales, but nothing special. Personally, I think this new range is probably a step backwards. There are good things in the change. The addition of a gluten-free beer to the lineup, that's really good. But the change from an entirely vegetarian range to only 2 beers is a downer for me. And if I were to make a different suggestion for next time, a non-alcoholic beer would have also been a sensible choice, especially given that Warhammer World is in an industrial estate and a lot of people drive to get there. Anyway, if you want to try them for yourself, you'll have to get there too. They're only on sale in Warhammer World. We'll be back in a few months, and of course, if there are any updates, we'll take on the hard task of reviewing them just for you. But until then, mine's a Twin-Tailed Ale. Thanks for watching. And you don't need to buy us a pint to support the channel. There's an all-new merch store linked below where you can buy some questionable merchandise. No beer yet though, unfortunately. Or you can join the YouTube or Patreon schemes where you'll get early access to videos and various other perks at different levels of membership. See ya!